people who can manifest faster than anyone else, they are not thinking in terms of strategy or mindset. They are thinking in terms of frequencies. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. In order to manifest faster than anything you can imagine, you have to think in terms of frequencies. And I want to go deeper into how to move into frequency so that you collapse time, you bend reality, you move in the energy of your deepest desire. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, the secret. Most people, they cannot manifest because they're only thinking about the physical plane. They only think about the 3D. They want the car, they want the home, they want the love, they want to attract abundance, but they are only focused on the 3D. They are only think about the material. And I want you to know that as a human being, we are not just operating on a physical plane. As a human being, we are operating in three different planes: the physical plane, the intellectual plane, and the spiritual plane. So the spiritual plane has the higher consciousness, higher awareness. It goes from 5D and beyond. So we can keep moving. It's an infinite consciousness that we can move into. And when I talk about consciousness, I also mean frequencies, because it is all frequencies. And every time we shift into higher frequencies, we are shifting into higher consciousness. So just understand, as a being, as a human being, we are not only just in physical, we are on intellectual, we are on a spiritual plane. So let's talk about the intellectual plane. I want you to know the intellectual plane is not just, I'm talking about the mind. The brain that we have, it is created not to keep you happy, but it is created for you to be safe. This is why the mind, the brain, keeps all the memories of the past. It is a software that creates all the memories, what happened, how it happened, to remember things. It is just a data. And this is why the mind is not designed for happiness. It is designed for safety. So when I'm talking about intellectual plane, I am talking about the higher mind. The higher mind is not the mind that keeps the memory. The higher mind is the one that gives you imagination, that gives you that visualization, that gives you that inspiration, that gives you that insight. The insight comes from the higher mind. It doesn't come from our actual mind that keeps the data. It comes from the higher mind. And that's what I'm talking about when I say intellectual plane. It is the higher mind. And this is so powerful, the intellectual plane, because when we imagine, when we visualize, when we think about what we desire, we can program our actual mind through the higher mind. This is where the power lies, because when we are stuck in the past, we are stuck in our actual mind. We are thinking back all the memories, all the fear, all the challenge, all the pain. But when we operate from the higher mind, the intellectual mind, that can send signal through the frequencies to the actual mind to shift itself, to reprogram itself to the new memory, to the new idea. This is how we program the subconscious. We bring it from imagination to the actual mind. So I want to give you example of the power of the mind, because the intellectual mind has so much power. And I'm going to share how we reprogram our actual mind to be open to receive what we desire. So many months ago, I was watching this video of this tennis match that basically showed that it was happening in Australia. So there was this big lizard that came to that tennis match, and everybody was like chasing the lizard, and it was huge. I never saw such a big lizard. It was huge lizard. And as soon as I saw it, I got scared. I was like, oh my God. and it kind of impacted me in a certain way. So this video was like few minutes long, and I saw that I got kind of freaked out about seeing this big lizard. And obviously, that memory was fed in my mind. But I also started thinking about this lizard, like through my imagination, I was thinking about this big lizard. I was using my intellectual mind, the higher mind, to imagine and visualize this big lizard. And that was a few months ago. So I'm just sharing with you the power of the mind here. So I saw that, right? And then after a few days, I forgot about it, but it was in my mind. And I went somewhere, I used the trains. I had to go somewhere to an event, and I used the train. I was really far away. I went to that place. And when I got off the train, and I want you to know, I live in the UK. It's cold. UK doesn't have any lizard. It's a cold country. London is cold. And I lived in London all my life. So this lizard was in my mind, and I visualized it, I imagined it for only for a few seconds, and it freaked me out. And here I am going to this event via train. I reach that place. I get off the train, and I was standing on the platform, and this is crazy. And like I said, London doesn't have any lizards. So for us to even imagine or see lizard anywhere, it is impossible. As soon as that train left, on the wall, there were big sculpture. They were not a tiny, big sculpture of lizards. Not one, there were like 3 or 4 or 5, something big sculpture on the wall, like 3D sculpture of lizards. Just exactly what I saw in the video. Crazy, because I lived in London all my life. I've been to every single station in London. I've used every single train in London. I never saw anything like it. I never saw a lizard. It just doesn't exist. Don't have that. So I've never seen it. But just because I imagined it, I felt it, I freaked out. So it was in my mind, it was in my memory, came from that visual that I saw on the TV, came in my mind, saw it, and it was projected. I saw it physically outside as a sculpture. And that is the power of our mind. That is the power of the intellectual mind, that whatever we visualize, it comes into the reality. It shows up. And as we already know this quote, if you can think in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That is the power of the mind. And that day, I was blown away with how quickly I manifested that experience that I saw on a TV showing in Australia, and that impacted me deeply. Just few seconds of that video impacted me deeply, and I thought about it, I visualized it, I saw it, I created a memory, and that manifested in physical reality by me seeing that sculpture in London, which I've never seen before. And I've lived in London all my life. So just imagine the power of our intellectual mind, that we can manifest, we can bring it into our 3D reality. This is why this is very important plane. It is very important plane to bring it into the 3D. This is why we have to understand that this connection is very important. A lot of people, they skip when they are highly spiritual and awakened. They go here. They are in a spiritual plane. They are in higher consciousness. They're operating. They're feeling happy. They're feeling joyful. They're experiencing this spiritual plane, but they cannot manifest it in physical plane because they skip. They skip the intellectual mind. They skip it. And this is why we have to understand, in order to manifest, we must realize we are operating on all these 3 planes. We are operating. We might be unconscious of this plane. This is why it doesn't manifest. And we might be not using the spiritual plane much. And this is why we don't manifest. We must know we are multi-dimensional. We are operating in all dimensions at the same time, and that is the key. We are operating in all dimension in all time. Because from a universe perspective, from divine perspective, there is no time. This is why we are operating in all dimension, every single second, every single moment. Whether we realize it, whether we don't realize it. When we don't realize it, we are unconscious. We are unconsciously operating. But when we realize it, when we become awakened, when we understand the depth of these planes, we consciously operate. And when we consciously operate, that's when we 100x, that's when we make manifestation faster. Like I just did within few days. Saw lizard, manifested in my physical reality instantly, like within few days. That is crazy. And I know people, I know someone who imagined, visualized, and she was operating from this idea of wanting to have peacock in her garden. And this lady, she was so into believing that she was visualizing, she was operating from higher frequencies, that one day, not one, two peacocks, they were in her garden. How? We don't know. But they were. There were two peacocks showed up in her garden. She lived in this space where there were a lot of field and it was an open space, and somehow, and it is crazy. It is crazy. This is why we cannot manifest from the logic. We have to go beyond logic. Manifestation doesn't work from logic. If you are skeptical, if you like to see the evidence of everything before you believe in it, then you are operating from logic. And when we operate from logic, we are disconnected with the higher planes. We are in disassociation. We are disconnected with that. We are only in physical plane. And physical plane cannot show you something that is beyond your logic. Physical plane cannot manifest something that to a person that does not believe something that they do not see. This is why we have to start going beyond logic. We have to start believing in the unseen. And this is where the faith is. Faith is unseen. Things that we do not see, and believing it so deeply that we disregard the physical. We disregard the circumstances. That's when you bend time, that's when you bend reality, when you can disregard the physical, what is happening in the moment, with that deep belief in the unseen that you know deeply that it is going to happen for you. This is why faith is important. This is why we have to have strong faith in order to manifest, because faith allows you to go beyond logic. Faith allows you to go beyond your physical plane, to really know that universe is working in your favor. Divine is making everything happen for you. And that's when we can disregard the circumstances. Most people cannot manifest because they are focused on their physical reality, their life, and they keep choosing that. They keep thinking that my life sucks, nothing works out for me, people are annoying, people are triggering, I don't like it, I don't want to be here. So they are so attached to the physical because that's what they see, and they cannot go beyond that. When we are stuck observing what is happening, we cannot connect to the intellectual mind, we cannot connect to the spiritual plane, because we are so focused on the circumstances, what is happening. The truth is, you can disregard the circumstances and really be in that intellectual mind and a higher frequency in a spiritual plane, that whatever is happening, you are in disconnection and disregarding. When you disregard and disconnect and you are really in connection with the higher truth, you know that everything you desire is going to work out, and you are moving in that direction with faith. And also, this is very important. Some people think they can just think about it and they can manifest. You have to move. You have to take a aligned step towards your desire. You cannot just think about it and manifest. For example, this lizard example that I gave you, the lizard did not come in my house. I mean, if it did, it would freak me out. Thank God it didn't. But I had to travel somewhere. I was going somewhere. I was not expecting to see lizard. It was already fed into my mind. It was already imagined through my higher mind. I was not attached to seeing lizard. But because I visualized it, I saw it, it affected me. I manifested it. I had to travel and I saw it. It manifested. So, this is why it is important to realize aligned action has to come through. We cannot manifest just sitting in one place and expecting money to flow from the sky to on our lap. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We have to know that we have to make certain moves. We have to seek out opportunities that are in alignment with who we are. And when we do that, that's when we collapse time. That's when we bend reality. That's when we operate from a higher self. By the way, I'm doing an event on 11/11 that is about business activation. So if you are someone who needs clarity on their vision, who is thinking about starting their own business through their soul calling, or who already has a business, if you are an entrepreneur, coach, healer, or if you are someone who wants to start, I am doing this event on 11/11, and where I'm going to give you clarity on how to shift into receiving more, be more abundant, and have that vision and clarity so that you are able to build brand that creates bigger impact, that creates bigger income. And what does that require you so that you are able to shift into the energy and frequency to be able to have it with ease, so that you have the vision, so that you have the insights to be able to hold that vision with ease. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link below to register for that event that is happening on 11/11. And let's get back to the video. So I mentioned that I will share with you how to reprogram. So when we visualize something, the way the mind, the subconscious gets reprogrammed is when we can visualize it, but also we can bring it to the feeling, the emotion, the feeling. So I saw lizard on the TV, this big lizard made me feel something. It created an emotion. It created a feeling. I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, that had a strong emotion. So that's how we reprogram. We have to have strong, big visualization, big vision with strong emotion that can carry, that can bring it to the physical. That's how we bring it to the physical, the strong emotion. And when we feel something, that's how the consciousness shifts. That's how the subconscious gets reprogrammed. So the feeling is that allows the manifestation to come into the 3D. We cannot just think about it, we have to actually feel it in our body in any way. So, for example, if you want to be a speaker, for example, but you don't feel aligned, you feel fear, you feel scarcity, you feel like you're not worthy or you're not enough to be a speaker, you're not perfect enough. And if you've been imagining and visualizing yourself as a speaker on a stage, speaking in front of 10,000, 5,000 people, and you are visualizing, you're seeing, you want to manifest that. And then if you want to make it a 3D, you could, knowing that this is your higher vision and this is what you desire, you could go and stand up in front of 100 people and give a speech and speak in front of 100 people. That will make you feel something. That will create emotion. That may bring excitement. That may bring anxiety. And through that experience, you will collapse the fear. You will collapse the past. You will bend reality. You will shift into higher frequency. You will feel different. And that experience will manifest a bigger opportunity. And in that moment, you collapsed everything. You collapsed the fear. You collapsed the anxiety. You chose to speak in front of certain people. 100 people, 50 people, 20 people, whatever. But you chose to stand up and give that speech. That's how you start reprogramming. Your mind now knows. Your mind, your subconscious now knows what you desire. You brought it from the intellectual, the higher mind, into the 3D. You created an emotion. You created a feeling. And this is the fastest way to manifest. You create the vision, and then you bring it to the 3D by that aligned step, by creating that emotion, by putting yourself out there, by showing up. And as soon as you do that, you would be surprised the kind of opportunities that will show up for you, because now you're open for being a speaker, because you collapsed certain fears, you collapsed certain trauma and pain by standing in front of people, by speaking your truth. You collapsed those certain judgment and illusions that were created through fear. And when you do that, you will be open to the opportunities, and you will be surprised the kind of thing that will show up for you, the kind of opportunity that show up for you, that you were like, well, I never seeked that, but people will come because energetically you are open. Now you are open to be a speaker. Now you energetically, you are in alignment to be a speaker. And that is the power of reprogramming, shifting, being in touch with the higher mind, operating in a higher frequency, and that's how you shift it. So with that, I want you to know that these type of work, manifestation, is not based on evidence based. A lot of people get stuck. I need evidence to be able to believe it. But the work that I do, the work that manifestation works, the work that actually shifts your life, transform your life, it is energetic based. It's not evidence based, it's energetic based, because ultimately you are energy. You are frequency. And when you know that, when you operate like a frequency, because universe doesn't understand your words, it understands your frequency. This is why when you are in scarcity, when you are in fear, when you are in doubt, you are operating in lack. And when we operate in lack, we send the frequency of lack to the universe, and universe mirrors that lack back to you. Whatever you give gets back to you. That's how the universe works. It's just a mirror. It's mirroring your frequency. So whatever you give, you get it back. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the frequency paradigm, the actual frequency of paradigm. And this is so important that I cannot tell you how important that is. And this is the reason why people do not manifest. This is the reason why people stay stuck in survival. This is the reason why people cannot have what they desire. It's because they do not understand the paradigm, how it works. Like I said earlier, in every moment, you are operating on different dimension. There's a different version of you that is operating on different dimension at all time. If you remember something from this video, this is it. You are operating in all dimension at all time. It may not make sense to you because when we are in physical plane, we don't understand these ancient spiritual concepts. But from a higher perspective, we are consistently operating in different dimension at all time, because there's different version of you at different dimension. So let me explain what I mean. So I've just put this here because there's no space. But what I want you to know, imagine as a child, somebody gone through certain pain, challenge, trauma. Maybe they were neglected. Maybe they were abandoned. Maybe they've experienced some traumatic events as a child. So, and then they grow up, they become an adult, they start working, they achieve certain goals, they get a good job, they are working. And even though they are an adult, even though they moved timeline, so now as an adult, you would think that they would think differently. They will be different because they are adult, they are no longer a child. But if this person has gone through trauma and they've experienced traumatic events, they will keep going back. I should have made it this longer. But they will keep going back to the dimension of when they were a child. They will keep going back to that dimension when they were little. This is why someone can be, doesn't matter how old they could be in their 60s or 70s or 80s, but they could still feel the pain of what happened in their childhood, how their parents treated, what they experienced. They could still feel the pain even when they are 80 years old. and they could still feel and be stuck in this dimension. They will be stuck in this dimension. They will keep reliving the same dimension over and over, even though in a physical plane, they are 80-year-old, for example. In a physical world, they are now 80-year-old. But through the dimension, they are accessing their child self. They are accessing when they were little. They're accessing the emotion when they were little. They're accessing the feeling, the trauma, the events that happened when they were little. They're accessing through dimension. They are going back. They are going back. Doesn't matter in physical plane how old they are. They might be 80-year-old, but they will be accessing what happened. And I know people personally who are in their 60s and 70s, and they still talk about what happened in their childhood. They still are talking about, with a lot of pain, that what their parents did and how their parents treated them and what happened. And they are so stuck when they were little, when they were 13, when they were 14, and they were so stuck in that they keep reliving the same thing over and over. They keep feeling the same pain over and over, and they feel depressed, they feel sad. And it is sad to see that, but they cannot get out of it. They just keep reliving it over and over, over and over, over and over. That's what I mean. In a physical plane, you can be any age, but you can access past dimension, the older dimension, the lower dimension, or you can access the higher dimension, the higher frequencies, the higher consciousness. You have the choice. And this person that I'm talking about, their parents passed away. Their parents no longer in physical plane, but this person is sad, is very upset, feels a lot of resentment and anger towards their parents. And their parents are no longer in physical body. They are no longer existing in this planet, on this physical planet. So can you see that we can move ahead in timeline, and we can be in a different age, and every year we are shifting, and maybe a different age and a different age on a physical plane, but we can be in a lower dimension. We can be in a lower timelines by keep reliving the same experience over and over. And that is the reason the manifestation doesn't happen. That is the reason we cannot move ahead. We cannot shift the frequency. We cannot be in alignment with a higher consciousness, because we keep reliving the same pain, the same trauma, the same event over and over. So basically, we are accessing this. We are constantly accessing this. And this is why we can, maybe in a moment, we can be in higher frequency, and we are very conscious and very aware, and we are moving in that higher frequency, and we're feeling peace and bliss. But then something happens, something triggers, something affects, and then we go back. We start reliving as our child self. We start reliving the trauma, the event that happened, the things that happened, and then we start getting into that pain and feeling that fear and feeling that anxiety and feeling sorry for ourselves. And we keep repeating that over and over, over and over. This is why we cannot remain in higher frequencies. This is why we cannot manifest what we desire, because we keep going back to our past self. We keep accessing lower dimensions. We keep moving in. And this is the pattern most human beings go through, that they cannot move ahead. They get stuck. They cannot move forward because they keep accessing the previous dimensions. In order to shift completely, permanently, release it fully, is you have to heal it. You have to actually heal the deep-rooted wounds that are keeping you stuck in these lower dimensions. And we do not heal from a place of ignoring what happened, because some people create this association. Yes, what happened. I didn't have any control. I can't do anything. So they create this association with their past self, their child self, but actually they are accessing through their emotion, through their energetic field. They keep going back to that, whether they admit it, whether they don't admit it. This is why acknowledging, embracing, and accepting through healing, releasing, that's how we release. We cannot release it by dismissing. We cannot dismiss what happened. We have to actually go through it. We have to actually release it fully, to release that trauma from our subconscious, from our energetic field, from our subconscious mind, from our cellular system. When we release it, that's when we can activate the higher frequencies. That's when we can activate the higher self. And then we can embody, then we can take aligned action, then we can embody our truth, our divine self, our divine identity, in order to operate in a world like the magnet who attracts everything that it desires, the magnet that allows everything for it to come through with ease, with effortlessness, with flow. Most people hustle, they work hard, they try harder, they push themselves more, they get burnt out because they are in disconnection. They are holding on to certain trauma, certain pain, and they are trying to manifest something in a physical plane. And it is a lot of push because they are constantly in attachment with their past self, their past pain, and they're trying and pushing and pushing and pushing to try to make things work and to be successful. Ultimately, we gotta release it, and we start moving up in a higher mind, in a spiritual plane, and we keep going up and up and up, and start embodying and bringing that to the 3D through our emotions, through aligned action. And then we start becoming the frequency of our desired reality. We become the owner of our own frequency, and we move into that energy and frequency with that knowing that everything that I think about, everything that I bring from my higher mind, it manifests itself in a physical plane. And I've had experiences that I can't even explain. They are beyond logic experiences, that the how I cannot explain to you how they come through, but they come through when you are in alignment with your higher self, when you are embodying that higher frequency. You experience things that you cannot explain. For example, me meeting a producer who wants to make a movie on my story. So that has been manifested without me trying, without me knowing how to, without me having any connection with any film industry. I don't have any connection. I don't know anyone, but me meeting a director and producer who wanting to make movie on my story, that is beyond logic. That is energetics. That is not evidence. That is not logic. That is beyond logic stuff. That is bending reality. That is manifesting something that we cannot understand. We don't know. Because logically, I didn't know anyone. I don't have any connections. I have no idea. But that happened because I was operating from that aligned frequency of my manifested self, the higher self, who is living a life of this woman who is operating everything that is happening with ease and effortlessness. So people just come to me. People come to me. How they come to me, I don't know. I cannot explain that to you. This is not the logical video. It is the high frequency video. It is the energy that manifests itself. And when we understand that our energy, our frequency that is manifesting itself over and over, we start shifting. We start releasing. We know that we must release it in order to manifest. And if we are refusing to release it, if we are refusing and avoiding to heal it, then we are the one who are sabotaging it. We are the one who are keeping our manifestation away. So we must be okay with, we must understand that. So every time we push it away, every time we say next year or next time or in 3 months or 6 months, we are actually pushing our manifestation. We are pushing the blessings away because God wants to give you. But the question is, are you ready to receive it? Are you open to receive it? Have you created a vessel to receive it? God doesn't want to punish you. God doesn't want you to stay stuck. God doesn't want you to suffer. God wants you to receive. But the question is, are you ready? Because most people cannot have what they want because they are themselves are not ready. They are themselves pushing it away. They are themselves avoiding it. They are themselves will not own their truth. So we cannot blame God for what we are not owning, what we are not seeing, what we are not allowing ourselves to experience it. We experience it by allowing ourselves. This is why God has given us higher mind, intellectual mind, the different dimension that we are operating. It's all been given. Miracle happens every day when we know this, when we realize it, when we operate from as a multi-dimensional being rather than just physical being. Because we are multidimensional, and that is the truth of your being. That's who you are. You are magical. And when we realize this truth that we are magical, magic happens. And anyone who is logical will call it crazy, but actually it happens. Magic happens every single day. The question is, are we open to receive? Are we ready to receive that? So I trust this video has given you everything that you need. So with that, if you are ready to shift, if you are ready to manifest, if you are ready to operate from your higher self, I would invite you to click the link below to apply for my mentoring. Other than that, like this video if you like this video, and subscribe to my channel. And may the light in me reaches the light in you.